Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Carolyn. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on our listener experience zone, The Les.
We have Run Club this Thursday night and every Thursday night at 6 p.m. We meet at the 99ers Sports Bar. From there, we run 3 miles, come back to the bar, enjoy some drinks, and hang out with each other. Each week, we share a secret word on our podcast, and if you share that word with the bartenders, you can get 50% off your first draft. This week, Carolyn chose the word, and the word is bear. If you come to our Run Club, you probably already know why she chose bear, but if you do not, and you have not heard Carolyn speak about her obsession with bears, we'll let her do that right now.
How long do I have?
30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's Fat Bear Week. Do you know what Fat Bear Week is, Danielle?
I only know it because of you. It's before the bears go into hibernation.
That is correct. And in Katmai National Park in Alaska, they have live bear cameras. And I am obsessed with the live bear cameras. I've always been obsessed with Fat Bear Week. I participate every year. They have the fattest bears go head to head. And the bears don't know they're in a challenge, but social media knows they're in a challenge, and you vote for the fattest bear. So they take a picture of the bear right when it comes out of hibernation, and then they take a picture of the bear around this time when it's about to head into hibernation, and you can see the photos, and then you vote for the fattest bear, and there's a bracket style. So this is kind of sporty, which is why I wanted to talk about it. But I've gotten everyone involved, Run Club, people from work. I will tell anyone and everyone about these bears because this year, especially in Alaska, the salmon have been very plentiful. So the bears are very fat this year. You've been watching a little bit too.
I've only watched once when you put your phone in my face with the video on. I've never pulled it up on my own.
I know, but you liked it.
Sure.
You did like it. So Fat Bear Week is happening right now. And I just think it's such a good way to get involved in a national park and to provide some national parks some love. So like I mentioned, it's Katmai National Park in Alaska. It's going on now until September 30th. I have some bears that I'm always pulling for. So usually I'm always pulling for Grazer. She's a female bear. She is a fierce mom. Some of the other male bears will try to go after her kids, and she defends them so fiercely. Every year I vote for Grazer, but this year I'm thinking I might switch up my vote.
Well, shouldn't you judge them by the pictures and not prematurely decide who you're voting for?
That's true, but some of them have really great stories. Grazer's always got a good story. There's a bear named Chunk who...
We don't like Chunk.
We don't remember that. Chunk. He's very aggressive, but he came out this year. Half of his jaw was like hanging off of him, and he still managed to eat a ton of fish. So now we feel bad for Chunk. It's just like anything. Once you get to know someone a little bit more, you can't hate them, even when they're super horrible.
Didn't he kill Grazer's child?
So he did.
Cub.
He killed a cub last year. But he's doing a lot better this year. I think he's, he got put into his place now that his jaw is hanging out. However, there's a bear named 602. All of the bears have numbers. This bear in particular, he's a male. I love him because he goes into the water and he just lays on his back with his belly up, and he just doesn't care. So I might be voting for 602. And then there's also 901, who is a lady. She's a big, chunky lady, and I think she might have a really good chance. So if you're interested, you can go to explore.org. They post Fat Bear Week. Fat Bear Week Instagram posts Fat Bear Week, and also Katmai National Park posts Fat Bear Week. And I think they're all linked together. So you can find the information there. And that's why the secret word is bear. And I am making a petition right now to change our podcast to a Fat Bear Week podcast.
Absolutely not.
Well, thank you for this time. I think I was over 30 seconds, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll have to check out the bears and cast my votes because I just got to see it for myself now.
Are you going to go with just fattest bear? Or are you going to look at their stories a little bit?
I'll read into their stories as well.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're voting. I hope everyone out there is voting as well. We also just need to take some time and say thank you to everyone who listened to last week's podcast with Ryan Rucco. It was amazing. I'm so glad that so many of you got to experience Ryan, and we just had the very best time, and we got so many messages about the interview and so many positive messages about Ryan. It was just amazing. It was a really nice week.
It's nice to get feedback from our listeners to know that they enjoyed that episode as much as we did. So thank you all for the support. It was such a fun episode, and we hope to have more like that.
And we also know that this week we have some new listeners because we have some people who tuned in because of Ryan and now are joining us this week. So we thought it might be a good idea to reintroduce ourselves. But instead of me introducing myself and you introducing yourself, I thought we could switch it where I could introduce you and you could introduce me. How does that sound?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, I'll start. Should I use my podcast voice, like how I announce when I'm interviewing someone?
Sure.
Okay. Danielle Bryan, formerly Brogan, is the co-host of the Women's Sports Weekly podcast. She is also my wife and best friend. She is a avid runner and has the best giggle in the whole world. She is happiest when she's training for and running marathons and when she's hugging our dog Scout. She is a former college basketball player and a Moravian Greyhound for life. She is known on the podcast for her support for the Seattle Storm, Notre Dame women's basketball, and all of college lacrosse. You can catch her mispronouncing words on previous episodes, and the way she says Phoenix Mercury, I can't even say it right anymore because of how you say it. She says Phoenix Mercury is a personal favorite of mine. She agreed to do this podcast on a whim with me, and I am so grateful for it every day. Welcome, Danielle Bryan.
Thank you. That was very sweet. I don't know if I can do as well as you just did.
Give it your best shot. That's why we edit.
Do I have to do that voice?
No, you don't. You don't have to do that voice. That's not really your style.
No, it's not. All right. I will introduce you, Carolyn. Carolyn is my wife and my favorite person in the whole world. She is loud in the best way possible, outgoing, passionate, and cares for other people on a level I strive for every day. When we aren't doing the podcast, Carolyn is either teaching or taking yoga, lifting, editing the podcast, watching women's sports or bears, as you all know now, or napping on the couch, catching flies.
Mouth open.
Mouth open. She helps me with all the house projects, which we share a lot about on the podcast, despite her very strong urge to hire someone else for the job, because at the end of the day, she'll do it because she's my ride or die. She's a diehard Gamecocks fan and an alum/former softball player of South Carolina Gamecocks. So literally any sport the Gamecocks are playing, you can find Carolyn cheering them on. She's also an Atlanta Dream fan, loves the U.S. Women's National Team, and will watch any college softball game that is available to be streamed, and you can catch her talking to her sister about those games on FaceTime.
That's right. So if you've never listened to an episode before, you don't even need to go back and listen to any of them because you've got us both down.
No, we love when people listen back.
Yes, please listen back. We also have some things that we share in common that might be useful for some new listeners to know.
The first thing we should also share is we've been together for over 10 years now.
Oh,
so
yes.
Just for people to know that as well. Married almost 3 years.
That's correct. And if you look us up using any AI tool, it'll tell you that we're sisters, but we're not.
We're not sisters. Don't think that. What are some fun facts about us?
We have the same middle name.
Yep.
Danielle Nicole, Carolyn Nicole.
The other one is we were both born on the 29th of the month.
So 29 is a special number, and I love odd numbers. So we really like 29.
Yes.
We both played 3 sports in high school, and we both played the 3 same sports.
Yes. Basketball, soccer, and softball.
Mm-hmm. And we grew up 15 minutes away from each other, didn't know each other until I graduated from grad school and Danielle was headed to grad school.
Yes. And we met playing softball. How else?
Yes.
We both have 2 siblings.
I have a brother and a sister.
I have 2 sisters.
And I'm the youngest.
I'm the oldest, so that's the difference between that.
And we mentioned this recently on a podcast, but my mom is Italian and my dad is Irish, and so are yours.
Just a few fun similarities we share as well.
All right, now we're going to actually get into sports. It's probably been like, I don't know, a half hour, but here we are. This is what we do on this podcast. We talk about women's sports every week. So let's start with the World Athletics Championship. The World Athletics Championship is an international competition for track and field held every 2 years, and it's organized by World Athletics. This year, it was held in Tokyo. So first, let's start with Jamaican Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who announced her retirement at the age of 38 years, and after 18 years of her professional career. She made her 25th and last global podium of her career at the World Athletics Championship. She has been to 9 World Championships and 5 Olympic Games. She has 10 golds in the World Championships and 3 Olympic gold medals. In this World Athletics Championship, she helped Jamaica win the silver in the 4x100 meter relay. And she is just really one of my favorite sprinters to watch. She always has amazing hair, amazing style.
Yeah, a professional career of 18 years. I'm trying to think of how much hard work goes into that. She has so many things to back it up. I'm sure she's sad to hang up the shoes, but maybe in some ways she feels like she did all she could and she's ready to retire, but unbelievable and good for her.
Have you ever stayed at a job for 18 years?
Can't say I have.
You would have had to start work very young.
Yes. Yes.
Pretty amazing. All right, let's get into some of the runners from the U.S. So 24-year-old Melissa Jefferson-Wooden won the 100 meter and 200 meter, as well as helped to win the 4x100 meter with the USA. And then we need to talk about Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone.
We talked a lot about her last summer during the Summer Olympics. And as a reminder, her main event is the 400 meter hurdles. But for this, she did the 400 meter flat and she won the title with a championship record of 47.78 seconds. And this is also the second fastest time ever for the 400 meter event.
So she was breaking all these records left and right. So a championship record means fastest at the World Athletics Championship, and then second fastest time to ever be recorded. And then in the semifinals, she was also breaking American records.
Yes. She's only 26 years old. She's already a 2-time Olympic champ in the 400 meter hurdles. For that event, she broke a record 6 different times.
The world record 6 times, just breaking her own records over and over again.
So clearly now she's stepping out of her comfort zone, trying something new, still crushing it. So excited to see what else she does in the future.
Well, what else she's doing is she ran the 4x400 meter relay, and she helped the U.S. win gold in that as well. And that beat a U.S. record from 1993.
Wow, that's truly amazing. And then we have Anna Hall, who wins her first world title in the heptathlon.
Heptathlon, yeah. That is 7 events, the 100 meter hurdles, high jump, shot put, and 200 meter, followed by the long jump, javelin throw, and 800 meter run. She is the first American woman to win this event in 32 years.
I would really love to see what a day of training looks like for her to do all those events.
I know. I'm like, do you go through everything? Do you focus on one thing per day? Do you just do accessory work the whole time? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, very cool.
Let's get into all the WNBA talk. We've got lots to talk about.
Yes, as you all know, WNBA playoffs are in full swing. So for the next couple of weeks, we are going to be talking a lot about the W through the end of the season, and we have a lot to cover today.
Before we get into playoff talk, let's talk about Angel Reese's shoe release. Last Thursday, Reebok launched the Angel Reese ones, and they were sold out within minutes online.
Amazing. Although the colorways are really cool, I like the names even more.
They have 3 colorways currently: Me Bounds, Diamond Dust, and Receipts Ready.
Great names.
Just like so Angel Reese. I really like the all white ones. $120 and sold out everywhere.
That's amazing. Good for her. Good for that shoe. Good for Reebok.
Yeah.
Good for anyone who got their hands on them, honestly.
Yeah, send some our way. We would love them.
Yeah.
Angel Reese, if you're listening to Women's Sports Weekly, we would love to be gifted a pair.
I'm sure that's the first thing on her mind.
Look how cocky I'm getting now that we interviewed Ryan Rucco. I'm like, yeah, send us a pair of shoes. All right, let's get into round one of the playoffs.
These round one games were so fun. All but one matchup made it to game three, which was really fun to get to 3 different game threes.
That was exciting. And I really like how they did this year. The higher seed had the first game and the third game, and the lower seed had the second game. And that's different this year. Usually the higher seed had the first 2 games and not the third game. It's tricky with a 3-game series. And I know some people have some feelings about this, aka Becky Hammon, but I really felt like it raised the stakes. I think when you're only playing 3 games, if you go to the third game and then you're playing away as a home team, that's not fair. So I like the split.
I love it. Honestly, I like that the fans of the teams who make the playoffs get to see their team on their home court. I like that everyone who makes it to the playoffs gets an opportunity guaranteed to play on their home court. I can see why the higher seed naturally wouldn't like it, because they're right. It could put them at a disadvantage, but overall, I think it's better for the league. I think it's better for the long term. So I'm a big fan personally. And to be fair, some teams played worse on their home courts in some of the rounds.
That's true. Let's talk first about Minnesota and the Valkyries. This was the only matchup that ended in 2, and the Valkyries lost at home, but it was such a close game, that second game.
Such a close game. They had the lead, as the Lynx do. They came back to win it. But the Valkyries put on a show. I mean, they put on a show this whole season. And for them to even make the playoffs was historic. And then to almost win a game. We talked about this. They had to play at a different arena. They had to play, what was it, 50 miles away?
50 miles.
Which is ridiculous. And they still almost pulled off a win.
The Valkyries fans really showed up. And they're going to be a fun team to watch over the years. I believe Natalie, Nakase, and management for the Valkyries said they want a championship within 5 years. And I'm like, it's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible, really.
Let's get into the Atlanta Dream and the Indiana Fever.
Yikes. Sorry to you and your Atlanta Dream.
This killed me. In my notes, I have only one note about it. Atlanta blew it.
Yes.
And we need to give kudos to the Fever. I mean, just the most resilient team who just will not go away.
Yeah.
But Atlanta had the third game. They had it. And then there were some poor shot decisions and some lack of plays or poorly executed plays down the stretch of that game 3. And they took their chances of what I thought of actually winning this whole thing. And they just threw them down the drain in the first round of playoffs.
It was hard to watch. That third game lost on their home court and they had it. So that was a rough one.
And the roughness continues for us because then the Seattle Storm take on the Las Vegas Aces and another heartbreaker.
I have to say, though, I was pretty proud of the Seattle Storm. They've had quite a rocky season. I feel like their record is not reflective of the players on the team, so I struggle with that. But first game of the series against the Aces, they got killed, and I was like, okay, this is over. Like, going into game 2, I was scared to watch. And then they pull off this unbelievable win. And then game 3 lost by 1, and they had a shot at the end to win it. And it was a good shot.
It was.
They came back, and they could have just laid down after game 1. And the Aces were on their 16, 17, whatever game winning streak. They broke that in game 2. Would have I loved to see them move on to the next round? Of course. Did I think against the Aces they were going to do it? I didn't. So the fact that they were so close to doing it, it was fun. It was just a heartbreaking night for us, for sure.
Definitely. And then after that series this past weekend, it was announced that the Seattle Storm will not be renewing the contract for head coach Noel Quinn. What are your feelings on that?
I think it was about a week ago. I asked you, do you think the Seattle Storm coach is going to get fired? And you were like, I don't know. And I was like, well, again, nothing against her, but you have all this great talent on your team. Like, why are you barely getting by? Yeah. And I'm like, look at the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White leading the way with them. They have half their team on the injured list and they're in the semifinals. So it just wasn't clicking for me. And while obviously I feel bad for her as a person, you're losing your job. At the end of the day, it is a business and people want to win. So I kind of saw it coming, to be honest.
I know that some players have mentioned really good relationships with Noelle Quinn. So it is difficult. And it's like the Seattle Storm should be doing better.
Yep.
Is it a Noelle Quinn problem? I don't know the answer to that. It could be another leadership type of problem in the front office, wherever it may be. But there does need to be a change on the Seattle Storm because they should be better.
Yeah, of course, feel bad someone lost their job, but I just hope Seattle moves in the right direction next year.
And then we have to talk about the New York Liberty and the Phoenix Mercury. I mean, what happened to the Liberty down the stretch?
They started struggling, halfway through the season. They started off so hot, came off as WNBA champions last season, and started off hot this year. At the beginning of the year, we were saying they're going to go for
number
a two-peat.
And after the WNBA All-Star break is when things started to just slide. They beat Phoenix in the first game at Phoenix, and I was like, here we go. Natasha Cloud's going to just carry this team on her back. And then they go to Barclays Center. Get whooped in game 2. And then in game 3, they get beat by Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Phoenix rolls on past, and I'm just like a little shell-shocked by it all.
Yeah, I knew that series was going to be tough. Phoenix was the higher seed for one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy that New York was in a position where they were in the lower seed. That alone was pretty crazy. But yeah, it's hard to believe that they're out on the first round.
Stinks to be a New York Liberty fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure Ellie is not doing well right now.
Big elephant tears somewhere. Actually, Ellie's like, finally, I get some time off.
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's talk about predictions for round 2 of playoffs. So round 2 of playoffs began this past weekend. The Las Vegas Aces, the number 2 seed, versus the Indiana Fever, the number 6 seed. Game 1 happened this past weekend, and the Indiana Fever took the first game 89-73. As a reminder, now in the semifinals, we're playing best out of 5. So move from best out of 3 to best out of 5. Kelsey Mitchell goes absolutely off in this game, scores 34 points.
She played unbelievable. She's been just on a roll. She had some votes towards MVP, and she just puts her money where her mouth is.
And she had a quote this past week, and she said, no disrespect to her other coaches, but Stephanie White has like taken the time to dedicate to her and pour into her. And I was like, great. I love when people find their good matches.
Yeah.
And when you're like, oh, this person didn't make sense on this team, but makes perfect sense on this team. And Kelsey Mitchell always made sense, but seeing her play under Stephanie White and just like clicking is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
And then Minnesota Lynx, the number 1 seed, take on the Phoenix Mercury, the number 3 seed. In game 1, Minnesota won 82-69. Courtney Williams pops off with 23 points.
At the time of recording, only game 1 has happened for both these teams. Second round will have happened last night by the time this comes out. But we did want to share some predictions we have for this series.
So what are your predictions for Las Vegas, Indiana? Who wins it and in how many games?
I think Vegas is going to bounce back and they're going to win in 4.
4. I think the Indiana Fever could pull this off. I think they could do it in 4 as well. And I'm saying this because they're like cockroaches. This is the only way I can speak about the Indiana Fever. They just don't go away. And to have so many hits to you and to continue to get back up, I think they could do it.
You heard it here first.
So I'm saying Indiana in 4. Okay, Minnesota Lynx, Phoenix Mercury. Who do you have?
I think the Lynx just keep proving that even when they're down, they can come back and win a game. Like game 1, Phoenix Mercury were up. I was like, they could win this game. It was close the whole time. Mm-hmm. But then the Minnesota Lynx just get some momentum. I do think Phoenix have the chance to win at home now that they'll have game 3 at home if they didn't already win last night. So I'm gonna say Lynx in 4.
Lynx in 4. I'm going with you on that one.
Okay.
The Lynx I'm used to it now that they go down and I'm like, they'll come back.
Yep.
It's just what I expect. And they're really, really good at just bouncing back. I do want the Minnesota Lynx to win it all.
I know you do.
If it was Lynx Aces, are you going Aces?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta root for the stud butts. They gotta win a championship together.
I love both teams.
Yeah. Let's take some time to ask the listeners to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. We love putting this podcast together and we want to continue to do it. We create, produce, and edit the podcast ourselves. So if you want to support us, please rate us 5 stars only, subscribe, and give us a positive review and share with the people you love. That would go such a long way. Thank you to everyone who has already rated the podcast 5 stars. If you sent us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker. It looks exactly like what Danielle has on her shirt, printed so large, but just much smaller. You could put it on your water bottle. You could put it on your computer. You could put it on a pole somewhere or in a lesbian bar bathroom. All of those places would be good spots.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Okay, for our deep dive this week, we're going to get into the WNBA individual awards.
Yes. Before we go award by award, I think it would be helpful to explain that we're going to talk about how many votes players got. So just to give some background, there's a total of 72 votes among a national panel of sports writers and broadcasters. So you might hear say so-and-so received 55 votes. Every time, this is going to be out of 72. So when we talk about all these crazy voting, that's what we're referring to.
And I will know that we've made it as a podcast when we are one of those voters.
Can't wait.
I think I would request 2 votes. We would each get 1, but I don't think we would get that. So I would settle for 1 vote that we would split amongst us and fight it out to see who we would give it to.
I think it would make sense for us to have 1 vote, and we agree on most things. And I think we'd come to terms on the ones we were up in the air about.
But if it was like Skylar Diggins and Alicia Gray.
But here's the thing. Yes, do we have our biases? But at the end of the day, I'm going off of stats.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's talk about most improved player. Veronica Burton from the Golden State Valkyries. She received 68 out of 72 votes. She was originally drafted 7th overall by the Dallas Wings in 2022. She played for 2 seasons, and then she was waived ahead of the 2024 season, so did not have a team. She then signed with Connecticut, but then was selected by the Golden State Valkyries through the expansion draft, and now is your 2025 most improved player. I love this because this doesn't happen if there's not expansion.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it speaks to the Valkyries, and she is, like a lot of players on that team, either have gotten waived in the past or sat on the bench on another team, and they were able to come form this team that, who would have thought, makes it to the playoffs, and now she's getting most improved player. Good for her. Really cool to see, and it just shows, 1, the expansion, and 2, the resilience of these players, and it's pretty amazing.
I think there was a worry when there was an expansion that the level of play may decrease across the WNBA because there would be more opportunity for more people, and maybe they wouldn't be the best of the best. But I think what expansion is showing is that so many players are able to play at this level. They just don't have a spot. And the Valkyries have proven that this entire season.
To stay on the Valkyries train, I would love to share the Coach of the Year award, who went to Natalie Nakase of the Golden State Valkyries. As a reminder, she was actually the assistant coach for the Las Vegas Aces in prior years. For this year's award, she received 53 of those 72 votes. And under her came Atlanta Dream head coach Carl Semesco, who finished in second place with 15 votes. Las Vegas Aces head coach Becky Hammond and the Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve tied for third place with 2 votes each.
I think the people who are most angry right now are Cheryl Reeve and Becky Hammond, not for getting the least amount of votes, but for getting the same amount because they're really going at each other at the moment. And I bet one of them is just like, why couldn't I just get 1 more?
Yeah. But we're really excited for Natalie. She obviously has led the way for the Golden State Valkyries this year. This is the first expansion team in the history of the league to ever make it to the playoffs. They've also broken a record for number of wins for an expansion team in their first season with 23. Their overall record was 23-21. And they were close to winning a playoff game. I know they didn't, and I know that was really a goal of theirs, but hell of a season for the Valkyries, and really cool to see Coach Natalie Nakase just crush it out there.
Yeah, best fans in the league, throwing their V's up.
Throw those V's up.
Just love to do it. Okay, Rookie of the Year, Danielle.
Who else but Paige Bueckers? Paige Bueckers of the Dallas Wings. She received 70 of the 72 votes. And behind her, receiving 2 votes, was Sonia Citron. We had a very good feeling about Paige getting Rookie of the Year. She had a great rookie season, fun to watch. The Dallas Wings did not have a great year, but
Not
she'll
as fun
continue.
to watch.
Yeah, she'll continue to grow in the league. So congrats to her.
Okay, let's go on to sixth player of the year, which was Naz Hillman from the Atlanta Dream. This is her first time receiving the award, and it's also the first time the Dream has had a player receive this award, so pretty cool. She received 44 of the 72 votes. Next in line, closest to her, was Natisha Heidemann from the Minnesota Lynx with 22 votes. Naz Hillman helped the Dream set a franchise record with 30 wins on the year, which doubled its total from last season. So this actually just makes me even more upset that they lost in the first round of playoffs because they were doing so well, and Naz Hillman was just such a great player to have on the team who just totally broke out this year. And anytime she came in, I was like, yes, we're going to get a spark plug. But alas, I'll try to stop talking about the Atlanta Dream losing in the first round. Let's get into Defensive Player of the Year.
This is the first time in WNBA history where there was a Defensive Player of the Year. So not one, but two people won the award this year. So this award this year is shared by Minnesota Lynx forward Alana Smith and Las Vegas Aces center A'ja Wilson.
We were worried when we saw this. We were like, uh-oh, A'ja Wilson got Defensive Player of the Year. They're setting that up because she's not going to get MVP.
Yeah, it feels like that has happened in the past. So we for sure thought she wasn't going to win two awards, but duh, A'ja Wilson is proving everyone wrong left and right. And this was one that I was very happy to be proved wrong because we thought she should get MVP.
And let's get into this co-Defensive Player of the Year.
So both of them received 29 votes apiece.
I do think there should be some type of tiebreaker. And so I'm going to make my own tiebreaker, and it's based off stats. So I'm going to give you some stats. And this is no shade at Alana Smith. I'm not going to call her a little baby white deer like Becky Hammond did.
Brutal.
But I do think there needs to be some kind of tiebreaker. So we're going to go stat by stat. Alana Smith averaged 26.6 minutes per game. She finished second overall in combined steals and blocks at 135. Remember that number because I'm going to give you it for A'ja Wilson. She ranked third in both blocks per game and total blocks, and tied for 10th in total steals. A'ja Wilson averaged 31.2 minutes per game. She led the WNBA in blocks and in total rebounds and in defensive rebounds and combined steals and blocks at 156 compared to 135. She ranked second in total blocks and rebounds per game and ranked third in total steals and fourth in steals per game. Whew. That's a lot of defensive stats there. I know it goes by votes, but I'm like, no one wants to share it. But,
I know.
But maybe Alana does. She's probably happy, right?
I don't know, maybe.
Or she's probably like, freaking A'ja got MVP. We could just give it to me, right? That's how I would feel.
But congrats to them both, because at the end of the day, that is what happens.
Yeah, and no one 10, 20 years from now is going to say co-defensive player of the year. They're just going to say defensive player of the year in 2025. And they're both going to be there.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into MVP.
This past Sunday morning, we were thrilled to see the announcement of A'ja Wilson winning Most Valuable Player. She is the first player in WNBA history to win this award 4 times. Also, the second time in a row for A'ja Wilson. She earned it in 2024, 2020, and 2022.
And now 2025. She broke a tie with 3-time MVPs Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, and Lauren Jackson. That's an elite group to be part of, and now she just put herself above.
Yeah, pretty amazing. And then the MVP voting's a little different than the rest of the votes. So can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, they rank the players 1 through 5. So for that, rather than just saying like, who is it? You rank 5 players, and A'ja received 51 of the 72 first place votes and 21 second place votes. In comparison, Napheesa Collier finished in second place, followed by Mercury forward Alyssa Thomas, and then Alicia Gray, and then Kelsey Mitchell. A'ja Wilson is a 7-time All-Star. This year, she shot 50.5% from the field.
Wow.
A career high 42.4% from three-point range. Just added a three-pointer to her bag. And then 85.5% from the free throw line. Pretty amazing.
That's incredible. So as we said, this award was announced Sunday morning, and we loved watching all the videos, seeing all the pictures, all the excitement around it. obviously there's a lot of emotions that go into winning an award like this, not only for Asia, but the whole Aces team. That's a huge deal. I just don't love that it was announced the morning of the first games of the semis, because not only could this affect the winner of the award, but also you have people on other teams who maybe thought they were going to win and didn't. And I just feel like it plays with a lot of people. Asia, by her standards, did not have a great game on Sunday.
Yep.
And even at halftime, Andrea Carter was talking about it and the emotions. I just totally agree with that. Like, it's a lot to deal with in all one day. So I just wish it could have been like the day before or something. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the day before would make a lot more sense. I think they do it to try to drive viewership, but I think you could easily do it the day before and not have this, where it is a very intense moment. And Asia was presented the trophy on Sunday morning before the game. It looked like during shoot around. So yeah, that's a lot to take on before heading into a game. I did love that her dad was wearing a pink wig.
Yeah, those pictures were so funny.
It was so sweet. A shameless dad is really, I love it so much. And
Yeah.
the video that Nike did for her of Asia Wilson is exactly who she thinks she is. It was just so perfectly done. Like, everything is perfectly done with Asia Wilson.
Obviously a fun day for them. Sucks that the Aces lost, but I really think they'll bounce back, come out better than ever. We'll see.
We'll see.
Congrats to Asia.
Speaking of, what are you looking forward to this week?
Obviously, the WNBA playoffs continue, so I'm looking forward to Game 3 on both sides. They will be played on Friday, September 26th. The first game being at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Las Vegas Aces take on the Indiana Fever. And then at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the Minnesota Lynx take on the Phoenix Mercury. And both can be found on ESPN2.
Mercury.
What are you looking forward to?
In the NWSL, Gotham is taking on the Portland Thorns on Friday, September 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NWSL Plus. At this time, both teams have 31 points each. They're sitting at 3 and 4 respectively. So this is going to be a very big game. The NWSL is almost reaching playoffs. We've got like a month left or so. So it's a good time to catch up on your NWSL.
Nice. Cannot wait. Well, that's it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.